All right, Kai, why don't you take us through some of this footage that you've got down there on the Kee-O-Mee?
So here we can see the propeller, or no, the stern of the boat, the back of the boat, the rudder is here. The lack of propeller is what I was trying to say. It just documents that, these sites are subject to, human modification throughout time. As soon as we first dove on this, the propeller was intact. Now you can see that it's missing. That documents that these sites are subject to deterioration, cultural loss. So being able to document these sites in their entirety, it does have a lot of significance and it does have a lot of importance to do that. This is the back structure. Dorothy was telling us that this little platform here, she would jump off and swim in off the back of the boat.
I think we saw that in some of the intro video.
Yep. Here you can see a significant amount of damage on the back of the stern. Likely that's where that fire was probably at its hottest, right back here where the motors were. And this, we just saw a little bit of it in the bottom right corner, or the bottom left corner there, was possibly one of the fuel tanks. So here we're navigating along the top of the or I guess it would be the bottom of the Kee-O-Mee, heading towards the bow or the front of the boat.
Looks like it's in pretty good shape.
It really is. Yeah, Flathead, just the environmental conditions for Flathead Lake right now are ideal for preserving wooden material. They're low oxygen content, cool water, not direct exposure to sunlight. Is perfect for preserving these wrecks. Now, in the event of, let's just say, mussel introduction, zebra mussels or quagga mussels get introduced, all of this structure is going to be completely encrusted with a thick layer of those mussels, and we wouldn't be able to see this boat as it is.
So that's why it's important to document it now.
There's so many reasons why it's important to document it now. The mussels are just one of the biggest threats that could pose a threat to this site. Also just the ability to interview people who have living memories of these wrecks we're losing them on a daily basis potentially. I keep referring back to interviewing Dorothy, who had such an amazing history, and being able to talk to her and being able to see her eyes light up and tell these stories associated with this boat. She passed 2 years ago. And, if we hadn't taken the time to find her and interview her and share her story, we'd never know. That's another reason why this work is so valuable, because, the boat's there, being able to document it and tell that story to it. But, being able to have that connection with that wreck, we'll never have it again. So, and being able to tell our story as a community, our story as, living on this lake, we're all connected to it. And losing that story, we're losing some of our culture. We're losing some of ourselves in it.